my list of the top 10 returning quarterbacks in 2021. Let's go. What's going on, everybody? It's me again, Golden Blue Dude, and if you haven't already, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button. I do videos every single day, either college football or college basketball. This is going to be a college football video. So there's a lot of good quarterbacks returning next year for 2021. And I went through and looked out and picked out the top 10, in my opinion, returning. This doesn't include the newcomers like DJ Unglele, people like that. These are starters from this year coming back next year. I have two honorable mentions before I get into the top 10. Skylar Thompson for Kansas State. I believe Kansas State will be a Big 12 contender next year. They have a lot of good pieces coming back. Skylar Thompson should be healthy. I think it could come down to Oklahoma versus Kansas State in the Big 12 championship. Also, Dylan Gabriel. He'll be returning to UCF. He had a great 2020, building off a nice 2019 campaign as well. I think he'll get better and better. Starting off at number 10, Carson Strong for Nevada. A lot of people don't know about this guy, but man, he had a great 2020. He was 249 for 355. That's 70.1%. That's a high percentage. 2,858 yards, 27 touchdowns, just 4 interceptions. Keep an eye on Nevada in the Mountain West to once again challenge Boise State for the Mountain West Conference title. Number 9 on the list, Michael Penix Jr., the quarterback for Indiana. Didn't get to finish 2020 because of his injury, but his numbers were 124 for 220, 56.4%. Not a great percentage. Threw for 1,645 yards, 14 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and Indiana looked like a really good team this year. I can't wait to see what they do next year. Number 8 is going to be Keaton Slovis for USC. For 2020, he was 177 for 264. That's 67%. Threw for 1,921 yards, 17 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. I think he actually had a little bit of a down year, so I think he'll rebound massively in 2021. Number 7 is going to be North Carolina's Sam Howell. In 2020, he was 237 for 348. That's 68.1%, 3,586 yards. That's a lot of yards. 30 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. I expect Sam Howell to be a Heisman contending quarterback in 2021. Number 6 is going to be the quarterback for Liberty, Malik Willis. This guy's dynamic. In 2020, he was 170 for 265. That's 64.2%. So his completion percentage needs to go up just a little bit. He threw for 2,250 yards, 20 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions. He's a good dual threat, too. 141 carries for 944 yards, 6.7 yards a carry. That's better than most running backs. And 14 touchdowns to go along with that. I don't think Liberty will have as good of a season as they had this year, but they're going to be a bowl team again in 2021. Number 5 on the list, Coastal Carolina's Grayson McCall. This guy came out of nowhere. He was 172 for 250. That's 68.8%. That's impressive. 2,488 yards, 26 touchdowns, just 3 interceptions. He's a dual threat as well. People forget about that about him. 113 carries for 580 yards, 5.1 yards. I think Coastal Carolina has a lot of good pieces coming back for 2021. I'm not willing to say that they're going to win the Sun Belt because Louisiana will be good again and Appalachian State will have a bounce back year. But Coastal Carolina will be a bowl team. Number 4, Miami's D'Eriq King. In 2020, he was 210 for 328, threw for 2,683 yards, 64%, 23 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He's also a great dual threat quarterback as well. In 2020, he had 130 carries for 538 yards, 4.1 yards a carry, and 4 touchdowns. The reason he's not higher on the list is because of that injury. I do think he'll be back in time for the start of the season, but will he be at 100%? And will he be as good of a dual threat quarterback? Because that was a bad knee injury. We'll see. But I'm still high on them. And I think Miami will contend for the Coastal. Number 3 on the list. Good news for Cincinnati. Desmond Ridder. He's back for 2021. He is the all-time winningest quarterback at Cincinnati. He's 30-5. They've only lost 5 times with this guy as their quarterback. In 2020, he was 186 for 281. That's 66.2%. Threw for 2,296 yards, 19 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. His numbers don't blow you away, but this guy wins. He's a leader, he's a winner, and he knows how to get the job done. That's a big, big deal for Cincinnati. I expect Cincinnati to start out in the top 10 in next year's AP Top 25 as well, and they have an important game with Notre Dame. If Cincinnati can beat Notre Dame and run the table, Cincinnati will be the first Group of 5 team to make the playoffs. Book it. But they have to beat Notre Dame. Number 2 on my list is going to be Georgia's J.T.Daniels. He didn't play all that much in 2020, but dang, Georgia looked like a completely different team. He was 80 for 119, 67.2%, threw for 1,231 yards, 10 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Georgia's offense has a lot of great pieces on offense. They could be one of the better offenses. I didn't say defense. One of the best offenses in the nation. Some great wide receivers coming back. A great tight end coming back. Their run game is going to be good as usual. And I expect their defense to be good as well. Georgia could be a serious playoff contender in 2021. The number 1 quarterback returning in 2021 is Oklahoma's Spencer Rattler. In 2020, he was 214 for 317. 67.5%, threw for 3,031 yards, 28 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. Most of those interceptions happened at the beginning of the year. We saw this guy get better and better and better and better as the year went on. If he would have performed the way he was performing at the end of the year, he would have been a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback because he was on fire at the end of the year. And that's why I have him as the number 1 returning quarterback in 2021. Let me know who you think also should be added into honorable mentions. I'm sure I passed up a lot that y'all would think that I should have mentioned. So let me know in the comments section. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on my next show.